Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us and welcome back to another episode of the Digital Embellishment Show. I'm your host, Kevin Abergel, and today we have a super special guest. We have Paul Furse, the Director of Channel Sales for the Americas for Scodix. Paul, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, all right. Good morning, Kevin. Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you. You do anything fun for New Year's?
Not really. I was back home in New Orleans for Christmas, and then we actually got home on New Year's Eve, and we just laid low because we were pretty tired after that.
No kidding, man. No kidding. I got two kids now. We're in bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're out. So it's
Yeah,
God, I don't know how it got so old so fast, but
it's the
yeah.
truth.
So listen, Paul, really cool things going on with you at Scodix. First of all, congratulations on the new role of taking on the Americas and the new role with the channel partner sales.
Hmm.
And Paul, you and I go way back. We've known each other for a while. It's so great to see you doing great in this industry and still staying like dedicated to the digital embellishment market. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you, Mr. Paul Furse from Scodix? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the industry.
Yeah. So I'm originally from New Orleans, as I think I mentioned just now, and so I'm actually a third generation sign painter. So you
No
can
kidding.
find these things called paints and brushes in museums now. And we actually use those to put letters and images onto various objects. Did a lot of police cars, tow trucks, and various things throughout the city. And really, what's cool about the signage industry is you really help shape, at that time anyway, you really help shape the landscape and the aesthetic of everything that was around you.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, so that eventually went digital, late 90s, early 2000s. That's a whole nother long story I won't go into right now. I worked like hell to get out of the print industry when it was going through school for networking and knocking out networking certifications. And life has a way of
Gotcha.
pulling you back in, man. Yeah, it's like the print mafia. You're never getting out.
So
Um,
true, man. So true.
yeah. So I worked for a number of OEMs, but really I was running a small copier dealership, and through a brokered deal, I knew nothing about digital embellishment. Through a brokered deal, I sold a used Scodix of all things, and a used Indigo to somebody. And it was the first time I ever saw it, and I was blown away. And immediately I knew that digital embellishment was the future. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And after leaving that dealership, I went to Konica Minolta, helped integrate the MGI program.
That's where we got to know each other, right? That's
That's
where we
me. Yep,
started. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I had a pretty good understanding of what digital embellishment was, and then walking into that role, where I met you, did that for, I don't know, 4 years.
We made a good
Um,
team, man. We had fun.
we had a lot of fun. Yeah, that was good times. And hey, and it was an invaluable experience. I mean, I learned so much about digital embellishment, so much more than I ever would have expected, and fell in love with it that much more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and kind of fast forward to where I am now, still marching and carrying that digital embellishment flag and trying to change the world. So
Keep it up, man. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm really watching a lot of the work that you guys have been putting out lately on educating. I know people on your team like April are doing a great job of educating the market, educating agencies. You guys are doing a lot of work with sustainability too. Why don't you tell us some of the stuff that you guys have been working on the sustainability front? Because I don't know, I feel like that's the big conversation that's going on right now with a lot of these agencies and buyers is around that conversation. You guys really took the bull by the horns on that, right?
yeah, we did. That's a big hot one. So there's really three things that we did, notable things that we did around that. First was we did an independent life cycle assessment. We contracted a company to actually see what the impact of conventional stamping versus a scodification process would be. We have,
Scodification. I like that. That's
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. So without getting into all the nitty gritty, boring details, I'll just say if you go to our website, you can find all of the information around this. But what it
Yeah.
really came down to was we came out to be 7 times more efficient than a conventional stamping process. Because if you think about conventional stamping, you've got to mine these precious metals out of the earth.
Yeah.
The fossil fuels, the carbon emissions, the water involved in purifying those metals, the runoff, the waste. There's a lot that goes into making those dyes. The
Did you
transportation.
see etching like a magnesium dye? The amount of like
Oh, the numbers of
acid.
acids. Yeah.
It's just like, dude.
Yeah, it's just terrible stuff. And the amount of wastewater that goes into that to
Yeah.
flush that stuff out. I mean, it's just a not an environmentally friendly process.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Um, long story short, we've got about a roughly 85% smaller carbon footprint than a conventional
Traditional.
stamping process would be for one B1 sheet. So
Wow.
then you start multiplying that out, and then it's just that much more sustainable.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Are the agencies reacting to that kind of stuff yet? I mean, is that something that you've experienced or that your teams have experienced? Is that kind of like one of the main conversations you're having with printers today, or is it kind of back burner?
So we are actively pushing that narrative much, much more.
Yeah.
And you kind of hit the nail on the head there. The real big drive for us is that pull through marketing as we
Right.
are talking to those demand generators, the agencies, the brands, and everyone in between. That's become a very hot topic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And really just as runs and demands are getting shorter and more personalized, it just starts to lend to itself as well, and it makes a better case for digital.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. Well, you guys are doing a great job on that. And I saw you guys came up with a new process too. And I think a lot of people are still a little bit confused. Maybe you could explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, Paul.
Mhm.
This new SHD effect that you guys are able to do. Can you show us or explain to us what that new SHD is from Scodix?
Yeah, yeah. So this is one thing I do want to say about Scodix is we have a number of different UV polymers that can be used for different applications and for overprinting different pigmentation or imaging processes. So whether it's offset, indigo, Xerox, whatever, we have something that will fit what you're printing on. Your
Right.
CMYK on. Now, there's most of our customers. It sounds like a lot, and everyone always asks about changeovers. It sounds like a lot, but most of our customers use one polymer.
Yeah.
On the higher end, I'd say maybe 20% of our customers will use 2 polymers. It's exceptionally rare to see anyone going over that.
Okay.
So the reason I bring that up is with SHD, it is both a technology as well as a polymer technology. So there's both physical
Oh.
and chemical engineering involved there. So we developed a new polymer that becomes a bit more universal, that can be used on a number of substrates. But what it allows for are two big things it allows for are, number one is I can get my foil very, very flat. So the polymer itself allows it, if you've seen a digitally embellished piece, typically it's very high and raised, but this polymer has bonding qualities that allows it to lay flat and retain detail.
Okay.
And detail is the other key with that new polymer, is that we can now hold a quarter point line, foil line,
Wow.
in true production because of the properties of this polymer. On the technology side, we have a proprietary algorithm in the press where we analyze all the objects that are in a file, and anything that has an edge to it, or anything that's roughly in that 1 point line object area, only gets 1 drop of polymer as opposed to 2 drops of polymer as we would conventionally do for a large solid.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we do a very good job of maintaining detail, um, and it's really best seen
Yeah,
in the
show us. You got
sample.
samples?
Yeah. So let me see what I have here. So the first, I've got a couple. The first one I'll show you is probably one of our more generics. And I don't know if you can see it, but at the top here, this is a 5-point tight and a
Just
five
tiny.
and a 5-point reverse.
First,
And then
yeah.
let's start looking into the patterns here. We've got some very, very fine detail that you can see. And really what's key about that is we did this specifically because one of our number one objections in the digital embellishment world was, hey, I can't get to the same quality I can with my conventional die work.
Wow.
So
On details, you mean on the smaller?
on
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. I can't get down to that level of detail. So we said, okay, great. Let's eliminate that objection.
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely, and one of the key markets that we've attacked has actually been the trading card market. So when you think about the fine details on a trading card, I don't know if you can see.
Oh man, you're bringing me back to my young days playing
Yeah,
Pokemon and Magic and all that stuff. Wow, look at that. Yeah, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's very cool. So I've got
The little seal. Yeah, I see it.
the seal and the variable number in there, and then on the back, I think the detail really kind of speaks to itself.
Yeah.
So
Really
trading
great
cards has
piece.
been a huge growth market. And then what that also allows us to do is
Wow.
micro embossing.
Wow.
So we can get very, very fine detail, do some crazy, crazy pattern stuff. I don't know if you can see the detail on that,
Oh, yeah.
but
And so this is available on all, I think it's the 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, and 6000, correct?
yeah, basically everything we sell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much all of our B2 and B1 products
Except
have
for the 1000, correct?
the one and the 3000.
Oh,
So
the one and 3000. Okay.
yeah, the one and the 3000 are single polymer systems,
Okay.
but all of our multi-polymer systems are absolutely capable of having the SHD capability.
Very cool. Very cool. So you guys have SHD. You have worked on sustainability. You were mentioning to me that you were also kind of working with uncoated, or you're playing with the uncoated type materials. Is there anything you want to bring up on that side, or
Yeah, that's something that so speaking of objections, that's one of
yeah,
the other top
that's the that's
objections.
that's the big one, man.
Yeah, is we can't do encoded. So what actually just sent out a holiday card,
Oh yeah.
which I have here. I don't know if you can see that,
Oh, very
but
cool.
this is an uncoated sheet. And it's actually on there. This was developed in partnership with Nina. And we are going to have Scodix approved uncoated sheets through Nina coming very soon. If you were
Very
lucky
cool.
enough to get one of these cards and you've got a little bit of detail on the back, I can't give too much more at this point, but a little teaser that we sent out, so I can talk about it a bit. But we are definitely making more innovations in that uncoated realm because
Wow.
when you look at the adoption of digital embellishment, uncoated is really, in my
Yeah.
opinion, the tipping point that's going to
Yeah.
push it that much further.
So that's awesome. That's great, and I think that opens a lot. Especially the greeting cards market is a big market. I think packaging is really pushing front coated too.
Yep.
And so tell me, you're in charge of channel sales, and up till now, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scodix has really sold, at least in the U.S. I know in North America you had a dealer. You'd really sold more or less direct, and now you guys just announced at Printing United a partnership with Ricoh. Is that something that can you talk a little bit about that? Is that something that is going to build up, or anything you want to tell us about that partnership and how that's going?
Yeah, that's very exciting in the Scodix world. And much to your point, yeah, we have always sold directly in North America. But Ricoh is going to be a full distribution partner,
That's great.
taking on both sales and service throughout North America for the time being. And we have big aspirations to grow that program. However, in North America, having them as just the powerhouse that they are, and with their reputation and legacy in that graphics communications world, it really is a perfect fit. And what they have announced with their B2 aqueous inkjet press, the
Yeah.
Z75, pairing that with the Scodix, what that gives us is a full turnkey solution where customers can get into the B2 market as well as digital embellishment. So from a commercial printer standpoint, if I want to get into packaging, you've just purchased a digital packaging
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, turnkey.
Um,
That's so it's a good move, I think, for you guys, for Scodix to have that. You have the added benefit of working with our good friend Gavin Jordan Smith, who's an awesome dude.
yes.
And I think it's really it's interesting to see how that's going to go. And you guys are just starting in North America, and depending on how that goes, I guess we'll see if that kind of extends to other places in the world.
Yeah.
Leading up to Drupa, is there anything that you can tell us leading up to Drupa from the Scodix standpoint? Like, are you guys going to be showing anything new, anything fun? Are you guys going to be on your own booth? Are you going to be on Ricoh's booth? Am I getting into stuff that's too sensitive? Just let me know.
There's a lot that I would love to tell you, but
Yeah,
at this point, I really can't say too much. But I can tell you that we do definitely have some very big announcements coming at Drupa.
yeah,
Um, Printing United 2022 is where we announced SHD, and that has just absolutely exploded. The case for that technology has definitely built itself out. I don't want to
yeah.
say that it sold itself, but uh, anyone that's in that realm can see the quality. And at Drupa this year, we're going to definitely make another couple more big splashes. So I'm pretty excited to for that to come.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear, Paul. All right, man. Well, listen, last thing, if you had one piece of advice, because I know that you've sold quite a few of these machines and we've sold a bunch of those together in the digital embellishment. If you had one piece of advice for anybody out there trying to sell one of these presses, whether, uh, no matter who, what's the one thing that you would give as an advice to a salesperson selling digital embellishment equipment?
Wow, I would say the number one piece of advice is education
Hmm.
and honesty is really what
Hmm.
it comes down to is ensuring that your customer that you're selling to fully understands what it is that they're purchasing, and from there it's building out the business case with that customer. Immediately it becomes it's a partnership that's being looked at from both sides,
Yeah.
and building out that business case with that customer, so they feel comfortable in that purchase and having the volume and building the business around that press is definitely going to be key.
I think that's a great point because right now, and I'm seeing it now because I do a lot of interviews with users. They might have started off with one machine and now they're getting their second and their third machine. So we're seeing that the people who know how to do this right and build out the business case correctly, and I always say this: those who don't believe that if you build it they will come, you actually have to go out there and market it and sell it and have that whole top down organizational alignment behind this new product. Those who do that correctly are making a lot of money with these presses. And it all comes down to strategy, but also having that good relationship with the manufacturer who explains to them clearly, this is how you're going to make money with this stuff. It's not just you buy it and they're just going to magically show up in your door.
No, yeah, that's exactly it. And like any piece of printing equipment, it has to pay for itself. You don't buy a machine that you're not going to run, and that ability to market and sell that work,
Yeah,
the sales staff explaining the value, and then the organizational oversight to ensure that everything's running properly. That is absolutely key.
that's awesome. Well, Mr. First, I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to catch up with you and really have this discussion with you. We definitely hope to have you back on the
Sure.
podcast one day, very very soon. Keep up the great work. Congratulations again on the new promotion. Congratulations on everything that you guys are doing, and long live sexy print, I guess, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me just thank you as well, because
Oh,
what you guys are doing to help evangelize really digital embellishment and bring it more to the mainstream. It's an invaluable thing that you guys are doing. So please keep fighting that good fight, because every we need all hands on deck for this one.
I appreciate it, Paul. Thanks
Yep.
again, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thanks. Yep.
Bye.
Bye.